The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericahealth.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Some people expect solutions to be expensive to be effective. This is not true. Everyone needs somebody who can be supportive and a guide. You'll find the answers you're looking for and the tools to both find answers and offer solutions on the Dr. Melanie Show. Now, here's your host, Dr. Melanie Barton.
Welcome to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness Channel of Voice America. I have a correction from last week. The correct email for Linda Christensen is llcallthesteps@gofast.am. Well, today we're having a mega one-time event. 4 healing practitioners who've been on my show before are my panel guests today. In alphabetical order, they are Susan Allison, PhD, author of Empowered Healer, and talk show host of Empowered Healer on Voice America. She developed steps for physical, emotional, and spiritual healing drawn from various disciplines, including ancient practices. Peter Fairfield, author of Deep Happy, is a licensed acupuncturist, teacher, and healer. He researched Asian medical and spiritual systems and their relationship to modern scientific, psychological, and biomedical paradigms. In his practice, he uses intuitive awareness and other modalities for physical, emotional, and spiritual development. Dr. Bradley Nelson is the developer of the most advanced form of energy medicine. He's a holistic chiropractic physician and medical intuitive, one of the world's foremost experts in the emerging fields of bioenergetic medicine and energy psychology. His best-selling book, The Emotion Code, is helping people all over the world to improve their lives by ridding themselves of emotional baggage. And Friedman Schwab, MD and PhD, author of the award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, specializes in cardiology and is a molecular biologist. In his private therapy practice, he focuses on the mind-body connection. He developed a unique breakthrough program which has helped thousands of people worldwide to identify and transform the root causes of their fear and anxiety. So what we're going to do is we're going to have each person talk about how this gift that they now share with the world was imparted to them and whether they personally have experienced daily healing or not. And we're going to start first with Susan. So welcome, Susan.
Thanks so much, Melanie. It's great to be here. And, you know, when I first heard the word and saw the word revealed, I was thinking, gosh, there wasn't a burning bush, there wasn't a bolt of lightning that hit me. And so I was thinking, well, it actually happened over many, many years, so I'm going to try to do this quickly. But as a child, I was a healer, and no one said that. No one said you're a healer, and it wasn't a time to do that either. But I'd put my hands on my parents, and they would suddenly, the headache would go away, the ulcers would stop hurting. My animals would have wounds from fighting, and I would put my hands on them, and the wounds would close, the blood, would stop bleeding. And I was this way my whole childhood. And never developed it, though, in my life. For instance, when I went off to college and so on, I didn't become a healer, I didn't become a nurse, a doctor, and so on. But probably about 25 years ago, I started adding pieces that became the Empowered Healer method. And, I got advanced degrees in psychology. I became a hypnotherapist, an ordained minister, studied shamanism for years, and became a Reiki master and a reconnective healer. And all these pieces came together as I worked with clients to help them. And so as a child, I wanted to ease suffering. And so with my clients, I also used all these methods together, which I will talk about later. And yes, I have used it on myself many times. And the one time I wanted to share is my mother had died recently, and I do see this with people that they develop physical symptoms when there's a loss. And I was grieving horribly. I just missed her so much, and I developed a lump in my left breast. And I used my method, which is to journey in a shamanic journey inside the body. So I closed my eyes, went into trance, went into the left breast, and I saw this huge.
Okay, we've got to go on to the next person.
I just saw this huge monolith, this huge pyramid, and the voice said, "You have built this in your body to honor your mother, but you need to build it on your land somewhere and honor her." Went for the sonogram. There was nothing there in my breast, and I used my own method to release it and to heal completely, and I haven't had one again. So,
yay. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, Susan. Wonderful story. All right, Dr. Friedman, how about you?
Well, thank you for having me, and I am with Susan. It's not really also something that I was aware of as something that was gifted to me, but I think what I really feel, let's say, is my gift is to be able to help people to look through the maze of their conscious and subconscious mind and connect to their truth and connect to their potential, their healing potential inside. And for me personally, that was a journey from the head to the heart that led me to this. You know, as a physician, I was definitely trained to diagnose and look for people's flaws and problems that never really satisfied me because I always felt we are more disempowering people than we are really empowering them to heal. When I went off in molecular biology, it opened up a whole new world for me, a world of miracles and abilities that we have inside each and every cell of us. And my quest was then, how can we access this potential? How can we utilize this innate healing power we all have? And this is how I came into the world of the subconscious mind, into the work of the mind-body connection. And now I'm helping people to find the root causes of their illnesses and resolve them with conscious-subconscious collaboration. And as I said, for me, it was the personal journey to trust more in my heart, trust more in our body, in our mind. I had to learn this myself, and now I'm happy to share this with others.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Friedman. That's a wonderful story as well. So next we have Peter. Peter, welcome.
Hi, Melanie. I think we all share some of these experiences. I think we all wanted, at least I did, I always wanted to help people. And even if I was mad or having a hard day as a kid, if I see somebody in pain or something, I'd go put my hands on them. When I was about 8 or 9, I had a direct experience with the nature of reality. Somebody told me about infinity, and I eventually just experienced that. And then, I lived in spiritual communities, and I experimented with different mind-altering substances. I started to do kind of serious meditation at 18, and Qigong and meditation practices, really, I guess it's been over 45 years now. And became an acupuncturist and doctor of acupuncturist, founded the school of acupuncture, and all the while I kept working on my intuition. And I became very interested in the physiology of all this. I saw that something was missing in the Western model, and I diligently began to try to put the pieces together from all the different spiritual practices and the different ways that the Asian medical systems looked at the mind and the physiology of the emotions and of the felt sense and so forth. I spent 7 years in the Himalayas doing long retreats, mostly in the Tibetan tradition, but also in China in the Taoist and Qigong traditions. And that really brought out my ability to sense things. And then, I've had 40 years of practice, as many of our panelists have, in the clinic. So intuition and clinical experience kind of merge in this ability to just kind of perceive what's going on. And I think for all of us, for me particularly, when I was able to open up my own heart, and I had, as many people have, difficulty in my childhood, and it gave me something to work on. But when I got my own heart open, at least mostly, then I could perceive others much more clearly. And so that has sort of all melded together into the process. And yes, I've healed myself. I've been on death's door many times and have but I would go in using qigong meditative practices and heal myself.
Wonderful. Thank you, Peter. I'm glad there's so many similarities between these stories. So thank you. All right. So Dr. Brad, how about you?
Well, thank you, Melanie. It's great to be here. I had an interesting experience when I was actually 7 years old. I was very sick with the measles, and my father, that I had never really seen pray before, was asked by my mother to pray for me. He prayed for me, and I was instantly healed. That was unforgettable because to go from being so sick one moment to the next moment to being completely well, you don't ever forget that. So I learned at that young age that there's a higher power that we can draw on for help, and so many years later, I was praying about what to do as for a career, and I was drawn towards business or drawn towards the healing arts, and I got an answer that I was to go into the healing arts, and I actually heard a voice that spoke to me that said, "This is a sacred calling." And when I got into practice, I got in the habit of asking for help and trying to make that connection every time I worked on someone. And as time went on, there was more and more information that filtered down to me. And what I learned was that the single biggest common denominator for all of our disease, for all of our pain, for all of our mental issues and our emotional problems and our self-sabotage is something that I call trapped emotions. And what that really is the energy of the emotions that we experience in our lives. Those events that are very powerful, when the emotion's very strong, that energy gets stuck in the body. And so that's what my work is about teaching people how to get rid of this and rid themselves of this emotional baggage. So
wonderful. Well, thank you. It's so interesting to hear the similarities in how things were imparted to each of you, and that it involves some healing on your own bodies and own minds. So that says to me there's some universal principles here, and I'm hoping that through us working together, these things will emerge and that we will be able to help one another. So thank you for this part, and we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more. So thank you.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Step up to the microphone. View the finalists right now on VoiceAmericaKids.tv. America's next great star is waiting to be discovered. Step Up to the Microphone is an exclusive presentation for VoiceAmerica.tv, where you can see and hear America's next top child star. The program is hosted by Voice America's own Cassie Frazier, and new episodes will be available every week exclusively at VoiceAmericaKids.tv. You can say you saw them at the beginning of their superstar career. Tune in to VoiceAmericaKids.tv.
Do you have or know someone who has multiple sclerosis, Lyme disease, or any other chronic illness? Advanced Cell Training is a restorative, self-healing modality that I, Dr. Melanie, have had phenomenal results with, reducing physical symptoms I've had for over 20 years. This process can be done right in the comfort of your own home. Request their free DVD at AdvancedCellTraining.com. That's AdvancedCellTraining.com.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
You're listening to the Dr. Melanie Show with your host, Dr. Melanie Barton. To participate in our discussion this week, please call toll-free 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send an email to drmelaniebarton@gmail.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness channel of Voice America. 4 gifted healers are my panel guests today: Susan Allison, Peter Fairfield, Dr. Brad Nelson, and Dr. Friedman Schwab. Before the break, we were talking about how their gifts were imparted to them. Now they're each going to share in a 3-minute time slot, which is very short, how they use this gift, whether it's hands-on, over the phone, by proxy, Can they train others to do it or not? So we're going to go in this order. Dr. Brad will be first, then Peter, then Dr. Friedman, then Susan. So, Dr. Brad, you're up. How do you use your gift?
Okay. Well, first of all, to find these trapped emotions, we have to tap into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, I believe, is a holographic computer that is logging everything that's done in our lives every moment of every day, and it knows if we have trapped emotions, emotional baggage, it knows everything. And so we tap into that using muscle testing. We teach a number of different methods of muscle testing, and it's very easy to use. It's very fast, very rapid. In fact, I'll share a story with you really quickly. This method is also done easily at a distance, and we do certify people in this method. We have about probably almost 800 people now certified worldwide to do this. Just a quick example. There was a woman who was talking to me recently about her son. She bought the Emotion Code book and the book on audio and was listening to the book and reading it. And her son started reading it and listening to it as well. And after a couple of weeks, the phone rang, and there was a woman on the other end of the line. She said that she was the mother of one of her son's friends, and she said, listen, your son has been doing this emotional thing with the boys, and I don't really understand it. But she said, my son has had a phobia of water for many years, and he's out in the back swimming right now in the pool. She said, your son did this, and I don't know how he did this, but you got to fill me in. And these boys are only 11 years old. See, so the beauty of this is that it's really, really simple.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically it's easier to probably show it than to explain it, but it's a simple matter of asking the subconscious mind questions. The subconscious is a binary computer. It can answer any question that you want as long as the answer is yes or no. And so we get those yes or no answers through muscle testing. Weak muscle is no, strong muscle is yes. And we simply ask questions to very rapidly figure out what the emotion is. Most people, when they learn how to do this, can figure out and localize a trapped emotion and release it in a minute, in usually about a minute or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it works well. You did it with me on the show.
Yeah. So my time's probably up, right?
Well, you've got about 45 seconds left if there's something else you want to say.
Oh, I do. Oh, okay. Well, yes, in fact, one of the exciting things about the Emotion Code is that because we're tapping into the subconscious mind and because it is aware of everything that's gone on, we're able to find emotional energies that have become trapped in the body during times that you might not remember consciously. For example, when you're a very young child or even when you're in the womb and maybe your mother's experiencing some intense emotions. We also have found that we inherit emotional energies at birth, sometimes from mom or dad, and they might have inherited them, I'm sorry, not at birth, but at conception. They might have gotten them at conception from their mom or dad, and these can go back many generations. We're able to find those energies and release those very easily and quickly using the Emotion Code.
Okay, excellent. That was 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Perfect. Okay, thank you. I hate to be timekeeper, but we want to get all this in. So, Peter, you are up.
Well, thanks again, Melanie. I share this in two ways. My book, which is called Deep Happy, which is really based on my 40 years of research on East-West physiology, but it's very simple, a lot of stories, it's fun. Shows people how to find the part of themselves that's already happy. It's the core of us. When you look in the mirror, and especially if we're older, I'm 63, but there's a part of us that doesn't feel any different, even though our body is aged. That part of us that doesn't feel any different, that's our essence. And that's the part that, if you go into that part rather than the body, is always happy. And it's also the part that connects the universe and where you can speak to other dimensions and so forth. Anybody can find it. Anybody can get there. It's really easy. And we teach seminars all over the country. I also teach professionals. I have spent, as I mentioned, most of my career looking at the intense and detailed physiology of the emotions, the felt sense, the polarities in the body that are where the primary karmic imprint happens. So I teach very detailed seminars to professionals on how to recognize these things and how to treat them using, many modalities. We specialize particularly in psychiatric issues, depression, anxiety, when we look at professionals, getting people off of meds and that sort of thing. And, these are, once you get the perspective on what it looks like, it's the emotions, but it's also the felt sense. And what I find is, when we have these blocks in our body, they're not just bad. They're places where we became overwhelmed or we didn't know how to handle it or that's how our family did it. So these patterns dropped in. There's a wonderful quote from Rumi, the Sufi teacher. Our job's not to look for love. our job is to find all the places within us that resist it and love them. And so I find by putting really positive energy into these places, they begin to dissolve, and it puts our consciousness back into all the places that we've separated ourselves from. So not only are we healed, but we get the wisdom and the intrinsic balance that having the rest of ourselves happens. So it's an easy process. I'm an acupuncturist, so I do that. And we also teach energy work. About half my practice is on the phone, and I guide people into various parts of their body and their energy field to begin to experience all the parts of themselves that they've left behind. And as soon as we put our consciousness and a sensory awareness in these places, they begin to dissolve and open, and we have ourselves back. So it's been remarkable and exciting, and it's the daily opening of new information and new experience, and seeing how people are benefiting from really reconnecting to themselves. I think all of us, and it sounds like we're all kind of in that same boat from our own direction here. So it's been welcoming, and I believe that is 38 seconds, 2 minutes, 38 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Yes, you and Dr. Brad together worked on me when I had an intestinal infection. You working with me got my pain level from an 8 down to a 2 within 12 hours. And Dr. Brad cleared out some emotions that was contributing to it. So I have firsthand knowledge how well it works. So thank you. So Dr. Friedman, how about you?
Well, it's interesting because I think I can really dearly relate to what both already have talked before, the subconscious mind and also the essence of our being. I'm working with clients, I would say 75% on the emotions and especially on the fear and anxiety. But often clients come to me not with actually the problem of fear and anxiety in their mind, but with some physical symptoms, whether it's some heart problems or they have chronic illnesses or autoimmune diseases, and realize then that there is an emotional component underneath all of that. I love to work with the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is certainly the intercessor between our conscious and our physical body, but also between our higher self and our conscious mind. So the subconscious mind is a very powerful ally, and unfortunately it needs also our guidance. So what I'm working with is helping people to find the root causes of their challenges. And when it comes to fear and anxiety, as I describe in the Fear and Anxiety Solution, I help people to address the 3 major root causes of fear and anxiety. And they are the emotional baggage, the emotional patterns that we are repeating over and over again. They are the inner fragmentations that many of us experience, where a part of us is confident and wants to move forward and has aspirations, and another part of us holds us back and feels more insecure, or maybe like an inner critic that just constantly puts us down. And this fragmentation creates an enormous drain of energy and also an incongruency and anxiety. And then there are these limiting core beliefs that we often overlook. We are patterned by our past, and we are looking through those core beliefs at ourselves and the world. So if we are feeling that we are not good enough, even if we have released our emotions, as long as we still have that belief, we may recreate these patterns. We may still look at ourselves in a very limited way. So what I found is very effective and powerful is to address all those 3 patterns, all those 3 root causes, and I find amazing results. And the reason is really that people are not getting rid of a problem. They are actually outgrowing it. And they are in all of this finding themselves, finding more the true potential that they have and also the essence of their being. And by doing so, they are creating a new foundation for their life. And on that foundation, they can build and create a life that is much more fulfilling and enjoyable than they could ever imagine.
All right. Well, that's perfect timing. So thank you very much. And last but not least, Susan, how about you?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Melanie. And I agree with everyone who's spoken and feel there's so many parallels in my work to yours. And really, a major part of my life's mission is to help people move past the idea that they have to look outside themselves for answers And so, what I do is to help people heal themselves. So my method's called the Empowered Healer Method, and you might think I'm the empowered healer, and yes, I am of my own body, mind, and spirit, but I am much more of a coach, much more of a teacher now in my practice than I've ever been. And my goal is to help empower my clients to heal themselves. And, so again, I'm more of a teacher and a coach. And I do believe, of course, that we need to go to doctors at times, especially in emergencies, and to practitioners. But I encourage people to learn how to heal themselves, because then they have the power. Otherwise, they're dependent on me, and then I have the power. And so I feel that in our culture now, in 2013, we're moving beyond the belief that we have to turn outside ourselves to experts, whether they're sports stars on television or movie stars or doctors. I feel that the real wisdom is inside us. I also believe in the Kahuna Hawaiian elder belief that we have three souls. We have a body soul, we have a mental soul, and we have a spirit soul. And I teach people to really trust their bodies, and their bodies do speak to them, and to teach them to actually and literally journey inside their bodies, listen to the messages. And I agree with everyone that we store emotional issues that we haven't resolved, and life experiences we haven't resolved. And so I teach people to go in and literally use process therapy to talk to that part of the body, and it will answer, and it will give messages, and it will help them heal themselves, and then they are completely healed, and they're the ones who are empowered.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, well, it's time for us to take our second break, and we're going to learn some more interesting things when we come back.
A healthy dialogue for your lifestyle. Voice America Health and Wellness.
Are you, or is someone you know, struggling with life? Do you know that your subconscious beliefs play a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you to permanently change your beliefs that may not be in alignment with your goals. We care about getting you a return on your investment. We can help you reach your goals easily and quickly. Contact us at beliefmantra.com. That's beliefmantra.com.
What sets apart VoiceAmerica.tv from the other video content providers on the Internet? Choice and flexibility means that you can host your video content live or on demand on the main VoiceAmerica.tv channels through your own branded media player or your own private TV channel. We support multiple media formats, so all of your video content can be in one place. We offer a number of advertising and video packages. For more information, visit VoiceAmerica.tv. If you think you've seen online TV like this before, let us surprise you.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
You're listening to the Dr. Melanie Show with your host, Dr. Melanie Barton. To participate in our discussion this week, please call toll-free 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send an email to drmelaniebarton@gmail.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness channel of Voice America. 4 gifted healers are my panel guests today, and time is flying by. Susan Allison, Peter Fairfield, Dr. Brad Nelson, and Dr. Friedman Schwab. Now we're going to talk about what kind of situations have benefited from their work. The order that they're going to be talking to next is Dr. Friedman first, Dr. Brad second, Susan, and then Peter. So, Dr. Friedman, you're up. So, who and in what way have people benefited from your work? And you've got 3 minutes.
Well, I mean, there are many examples that show the power of the inner healer, like we all have talked about. But certainly one example that I love to share with you is a woman who was on a similar path than me, very much trying to help people, but very much left-brained. And so she became a psychotherapist and worked for years on helping others to figure out life in themselves. But while she was focusing on others, she didn't really focus very much on herself. And And somehow her inner issues, her anxieties, her sense of worthlessness, her depression became stronger and stronger the more she tried to ignore it. When her marriage fell apart and she was left with her 2 young children, and at some point she thought about, well, maybe I should go out and find another partner and date again, she developed a skin cancer right above her lip. And the doctors just said the only option she has is a major surgery, a disfiguring surgery that pretty much changes her looks, and in her mind would have been life-changing, and so she refused to go down this route. Mm-hmm. But that was for her the moment where she decided, I need to look into these deeper inner reasons why I had all those emotional but also now these physical symptoms. And so we worked through those layers. We worked on what actually was driving the anxiety in the first place, and we came to a place way back where she had undergone severe physical and sexual abuse based on some neighbors that were supposed to take care of her. And so internally there was a foundation break of trust that she was never able to heal until she actually went back into this time and learned some very important lessons about herself. And what she learned was that despite all that she went through and despite all those challenges that she had in life, she was at an early age never giving up on love and never giving up on kindness and never giving up on compassion. And rather than seeing herself as a victim, she all of a sudden could see herself as such a strong person, as a strong, courageous, even as a little girl, being able to stay on the path of the light rather than moving into this path of the darkness. And what she now was able to do is to truly embrace and love herself. And as we went through the other layers, the inner conflicts and these inner limiting core beliefs, her skin started to heal. And she felt not only emotionally better, but also her skin looked much better until she went to 3 different clinics. One of them was Stanford. And
all right, we need to finish up with your component, right. But that's an amazing recovery process.
They didn't find any cancer anymore, so the cancer was completely gone.
Yay! Wonderful. Thank you. All right, wonderful story. All right, Dr. Brett, how about what you can share with us?
Well, the emotion code has been successful with all kinds of problems. When I was in practice, I found that the single biggest common denominator for everything, whether it was a physical problem or a disease process or some kind of mental emotional problem, was the emotional baggage that a person had. And so I personally have seen all kinds of things get well. I personally have seen that every cancer case that I saw when I was in practice always had trapped emotional baggage there. Mm-hmm. And we've also seen people get well who, suicidally depressed people, for example, get well literally in a matter of days sometimes. People who are suffering from phobias and panic attacks and all kinds of anxiety, et cetera. But I'd like to talk very, very quickly about something that I discovered that was really shown to me a number of years ago. It was revealed to me that these emotional energies are sometimes taken and formed into a wall around the heart by the subconscious mind. We call that a heart wall. And that heart wall is put up, that energy wall is put up to protect the heart from being totally broken. The heart is really what the ancients believed it was. It's really the seat of the soul, I believe, and the source of our love and creativity and everything else. But when we are feeling those feelings like our heart is going to break, that's very difficult for that core of our being to deal with. And so this wall can get put up. And I'd just like to share with you some emails that people have sent to me. Here's one from a man named Richard. He said, "Thank you, Dr. Nelson. This has changed my life. I was not able to walk due to 8 knee surgeries. Now I can walk pain-free. I went from a pain level of 10 to a pain level of 0 after working on myself, and all in less than 1 week. I removed 5 emotional blocks that made up my heart wall, and he said I was told I had to wait 3 days before I could work on myself, and then found some very interesting emotions and resolved many very painful symptoms I've had for 20 years, and they were gone in 1 week. Another woman wrote in, who said, I'm feeling an awesome difference since I released my heart wall. You can take down these energies, and when that wall is taken down, the heart energy then is able to flow out and fill the universe and so on. And it's really amazing what happens. She said, to begin with, my self-esteem has gone up to the sky. Secondly, I've been having one creative idea after the other. I feel that the driving force, which seemed to have left me long ago, is back again with a lot of strength. Another woman wrote in, she said, where I have spent more money than I like to think about in the last 21 years in my quest for happiness has been done in this short period. After yesterday, my struggle is finally over and I truly feel free. Free to just love and be. Now I can dance naked in my own living room if I like. I can jiggle it and giggle it, having sex with my husband with abandon joy, and let me tell you, he is one happy fella. So that's a hard one to top.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Thank you very much for sharing. And what I can tell you is I did some of the things in your book with my sister Robin. She had her knee replacement done on Monday. She went home a day early and her pain is much less than what they anticipated. So wonderful. It all works. All right. So Susan, you're up. So tell us some of the healings that you have been a part of.
Thanks, Melanie. I'm so enjoying hearing everybody share. And, you know, in my book, My Empowered Healer, I have all these cases that I share. And, you know, people have healed from cervical cancer, from MS. They've regained peripheral vision. They've healed from skin cancer, blocked arteries, anxiety, etc. And there's so many cases in the book. But one that really, I just was trusting my intuition, and the one that came to me this morning is very, very dear to me. And a woman came to me who had been diagnosed with cervical cancer, and she was a really fairly young woman. And we did several sessions together, and I both used hands-on work with using Reiki and the reconnection, hands-on healing. And she journeyed inside her own body to her cervix and got amazing answers. And what she found was she'd been in a very abusive marriage, and she'd had her tubes tied because she never wanted to bring a child into that marriage because she was so afraid that he would abuse their child. And so she had her tubes tied, and she was grieving, but not conscious of it, but unconsciously in her body, she was grieving for not having this child, and she was actually, in a way, creating a child, creating a tumor inside her body to replace this, you know, this child. It was just heartbreaking. And so we did all of this work, and she went in and she did her grieving. And I also believe that, you know, the emotional baggage, the blocked emotions are just a huge part of any kind of physical illness and emotional illness. And so she was grieving. And I see this with a lot of my clients, that the grief is a huge component. And so she was in such grief. So she cried a lot, she released it, and she also got the message, because people actually see guides and helpers and beings come, and she was told you could adopt a child, you could have foster children. And so she got this idea, and she was so thrilled with it. And she became a foster parent or decided to do this, but she had a doctor's appointment, went back, and the cervical cancer was completely gone. She, agreed to this being inside her that she would do that, and she followed through, became a foster parent. Now she is a social worker living in another part of the country and is helping children and becoming an advocate for children. So that's, there's lots of stories I could share, but this was about 12 years ago, and she's been cancer-free ever since.
Wonderful. Amazing stories. Miracles in the making. Yep. Okay, thank you. So, Peter, how about your story?
Oh, boy. There's so many. I've done this for 40 years, probably like most of you guys. But by the way, what you're calling the heart wall, in Chinese medicine, we know as the pericardium, and it's really not well looked at in the West, so congratulations for noticing that, paying attention to that. It's really the foundation for a lot of what we call mental illness, because it obstructs the radiance and self-connection that we have to the heart. And I do a lot of work with depression. I had a fellow that came in a few months ago, and he's a big guy, and actually from Santa Cruz, and he was just drugged out, and he was heavily medicated. He's been on 4 very powerful psychiatric meds for years, and he just didn't have a life. And since then, we've got him off 2 of those, and we're fading him off the other 2. He's happy. He now has a new career. He's not depressed anymore. He trusts that he doesn't have to have these medicines. And so the scourge of psychiatric care in this country is one of the dark areas of our world. And so I think all of us have something to contribute to that. The heart is just so important, and consciousness. It's so easy to be influenced by the Western model, but when we think about what we're all talking about, I believe, is that consciousness creates biology. Consciousness is the foundation. I had a woman that was anally raped when she was 15, and obviously there's a great deal of rage that gets impacted. And at 60, she had cancer in her rectum, cancer in her liver, and cancer in the pleasure centers of the brain, which I discovered doing the work with her just on the phone. Within 2 weeks of having her begin to experience what the lesions in her colon felt like, first she couldn't feel anything, then she felt the numbness. This is something that always felt hot. As soon as she started to put her consciousness right into the place of these lesions and sense them, she started to feel this cool energy flow through her body. And within 2 weeks, those lesions, they couldn't find them on the imaging when she went in to see her doctor. The liver is a much denser thing, and we were able to help her guide the chemo actually into her liver, because when I looked at it, you could see this blue energy. And there was some very stuck energy places. In Chinese medicine, probably other systems, the liver has to do with retention of anger and frustration, and it kind of holds things in. And so these were very stuck, and so she was able to guide the chemo to the liver, and you could just see it begin to dissolve. And then with the brain, she was able to go into the pleasure centers of the brain, greatly reduce the tumor, and begin to experience pleasure in the body, which further reduced the tumors. So it's just amazing. As soon as we put our consciousness into these blocked areas, everything changed. I love the stories about this in my book, Deep Happy.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I can't wait to read everybody else's book. I want to read.
Yes. We'll have to do that exchange in the next segment. We're going to talk about that. But right now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll give each person's contact information and their book information. So stay tuned.
A healthy dialogue for your lifestyle. Voice America Health and Wellness.
Like 30 million other Americans, I have interstitial cystitis, a chronic inflammatory disease that feels like a bladder infection, or prostatitis for men. Desert Harvest Concentrated Aloe Vera helps. It appears to give analgesic properties while coating the bladder. It's the only one that has a phase 1 trial. It's whole processed, whole leaf, and extremely concentrated. Go to desertharvest.com to order, or call 1-800-222-3901. Tell them Dr. Melanie sent you. 1-800-222-3901.
Nearly everybody struggles with some sort of addiction. It can be substance abuse, eating disorders, sexual addiction, or even something much less common. Tune into Addiction in America with host Rebecca Bullion every week to learn more about these and other addictions. Our goal is to educate you about these addictions in order to help you with regaining control in your life. Addiction in America is broadcast live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
You're listening to the Dr. Melanie Show with your host, Dr. Melanie Barton. To participate in our discussion this week, please call toll-free 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send an email to drmelaniebarton@gmail.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness Channel of Voice America. My panel guests today are 4 gifted healers who I'm sure you're thoroughly enjoying: Susan Allison, Peter Fairfield, Dr. Brad Nelson, and Dr. Friedman Schwab. We are looking to plan a conference probably sometime in the fall, probably somewhere out on the West Coast area, with these panel guests and including some other healers as well. So make sure you're going to keep in contact with me so you can find out when and where it's going to be. Now I want each of our guests to tell you how you can contact them, how you can get their book, and anything they want to cover in the 2 minutes that they each have left. So the order of speaking this time is Peter Fairfield gets to go first. So you're up, Peter.
Okay, thanks. Well, yes, my name is Peter Fairfield, and you can go to mysticalbody@yahoo.com is my email, mysticalbody@yahoo.com. Our clinic is the Center for Health and Happiness in Mill Valley, California. That phone number is 415-377-0862. A good website to find us is deephappylife.com. And the name of my book is Deep Happy, and it's available on Amazon, and, definitely support your local bookseller. You can also order it from the website, deephappylife.com, or you can just Google Peter Fairfield. There's a lot of stuff out there. So I'm happy to hear from anybody. We do work with people all over the world on the phone, and if you want to call up and find out about that, happy to talk to you about that and see if this is a fit for you. And we have people coming from all over the world to visit us and let us work on them for a few weeks at our clinic in Mill Valley, California. So thank you again. Peter Fairfield, 415-377-0862.
Thanks, Peter. And they don't have to have Skype to have a session with you, correct?
No, just use the phone.
Okay. Yeah, because some healers have to have a webcam, and so they don't have to do that. So that's good. Okay. Thank you. All right, Susan, how about you?
Well, I'd love for listeners to contact me, and they can find me at drsusanallison.com and empoweredhealer.com. And I also have several fan pages on Facebook, and they can find me at Dr. Susan Allison on Facebook, and also the Empowered Healer Show, which I have on Voice America's Seventh Wave Network. And I'd also, my email is empoweredhealer@comcast.net. I'd love to have direct emails from people. That'd be wonderful. I'm located here in Santa Cruz, California, and I do phone sessions with people and also in person. People fly from all over to see me and would love to see people. Also, my latest book is Empowered Healer, Gain the Confidence, Power, and Ability to Heal Yourself. And you can get it on all the sites, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and your local bookstore. And I have a couple of other books as well. So I just am so happy people are here and really want them to heal and know they can. And thank you for listening, everyone.
Well, thank you, Susan. That was Susan Allison, in case you missed her last name. And now, Dr. Brad Nelson, how about you tell us how they can find you?
Well, yes, absolutely. You can go to drbradleynelson.com. It's drbradleynelson.com. And you can get more information about the emotion code there. You can listen to some videos there, watch some videos there. To contact us, there's a little help button on the left side. You can just click on that, and you can get a hold of me that way. We also have practitioners worldwide that do this work. So even though this work is designed to be done by yourself and can be done all by yourself, sometimes it helps to have someone work with you. So you can look at our map there on drbradleynelson.com. You can just click on the Find a Practitioner button, and it brings up a map of the world, and you can just find somebody that can work with you at a distance. And, of course, because it's done at a distance, the person that you might work with might be on the other side of the planet, and that's totally okay. So I hope that you take a moment there and go to that website, drbradleynelson.com, and take a look at that and get a copy of the Emotion Code book.
Okay. And they don't have to have Skype to do that with you either, correct, with the practitioner?
No, not at all. I'm not treating people myself any longer. I don't have time, but we do have this network, like I said, and so people do it over the phone or Skype. Either way, it depends on who you choose.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so Dr. Friedman Schwab, you're up next.
Well, thank you. And you can reach me at either cellularwisdom.com, that's in one word, cellularwisdom.com, or the fearandanxietysolution.com. It's also in one word, the fearandanxietysolution.com. You can get the book pretty much anywhere and everywhere, but also through my publisher, Sounds True. I'm offering sessions in person via the phone or Skype all over the world. So if you are interested in breaking through your fears and anxieties, just send us an email. and we can even set up a time where we can briefly talk beforehand to see how the work I'm offering can help you to get unstuck and resolve those deep emotional and also physical challenges that you may have been feeling trapped in for some time.
Okay. Well, because you were all so efficient, we have enough time for me to ask each of you, what did you learn or gain from today's show? So we're going to do this in reverse order. Dr. Friedman, what was this show? How did it benefit you? What did you learn today?
I'm just really thrilled to know of all of you and know that there is not only the similarities, but there are different angles and different approaches that certainly can benefit all the people that have been listening to. And what I feel is like that healing is basically a wonderful kaleidoscope. And some people may feel more drawn to one practitioner or one modality than to another. But at the end of it, it really comes down to that inner healer that we all have. Mm-hmm. And it's wonderful for each and everyone to offer these bridges to that inner healer. And I'm just thrilled and blessed to have met you and continue to hopefully connect with you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Dr. Brad, how about you?
Well, I would absolutely echo what Dr. Friedman said. I think that I think it's great to make these connections with people that are like-minded healers that have so many things in common, and we're really all working to solve the same puzzle. And I think that we're living in a day and age where there is all kinds of knowledge that is just being poured out on the earth from up above, and this healing knowledge is part of that. The earth is in this tremendous transformational process, and the healing of mankind is key to that, to transforming this world into the new world that we all want and that's coming. And so I think this has been really fun for me, especially to hear how close we are and how we're all really on the same track, and eventually I think it's all going to merge together, and we're going to understand the truth of the whole big picture. So this has been really great.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay, Susan?
Oh, I love the unity. I've been sort of jotting down notes, for myself, and it's just so incredible how unified, and not just us, but, you mentioned 40,000, downloads of your show, and I'm just imagining all this light in terms of everything is energy. We're all connected, and we're all connected at a heart level. Quantum physics has never been more present and more accepted, even though it's been around since the 1930s. We're realizing that, this isn't just a material world, it's a world of energy. And we're all connected, and we're unified in our mission, and which is about healing. It's healing ourselves, it's healing the planet. And so I feel very blessed and grateful to be part of this today. Thank you.
Thank you. And Peter, how about you?
Well, I also feel blessed and feel an echo here. I think it's beautiful how, if we think how the paradigm changed, I think all of us have sort of fought through disbelief and a wall of, sort of density as we began to express these ideas and these healing modalities over the years in our lives. And I think that the paradigm is coalescing into something really coherent. One thing none of us have talked about is that our beautiful sun is putting out electromagnetic frequencies to the entire solar system as it moves through different parts of the galaxy. And I had an experience all last week where so many people, including myself, had little moments of dizziness. And then I found out that the sun was putting out these huge magnetic shifts. So I think one of our jobs is to help ourselves and the world integrate to this new reality that's coming. Consciousness creates biology and the emotions and everything we're all into. So it's really a beautiful summation, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you all. I don't have any words to express my gratitude other than we're all going to have a conference call to compare notes. So thank you all very much. It went very quickly. Each listener heard how you can reach these guests, but be watching for this conference that we're going to plan. And if you've got somebody that you want us to include in that lineup, then let me know. Email me at drmelanie, melaniebarton@gmail.com. Next week, if you're an author, you're going to want to listen to this show because Francine Silverman, who's a publicist, is going to tell you how you can afford her services to publicize what you do. We're also going to hear about another international healer from one of his followers. If you want to keep this show on the air, be watching because I'm going to have some ways that you can help make this happen. So remember, to help yourself, help someone else. Until next week, goodbye for now.
Thank you so much for joining us this week for the Dr. Melanie Show. Please join your host, Dr. Melanie Barton, again next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. We'll see you next week for another great program.